Do you want to cheer for Roman? Come on, Dallas, let's cheer. You never cheer for him anyway. It's a different day, so let's cheer for Bay. He used to be shit rocks, and now it's not. I wish you would cheer for him. Do you want to cheer for Roman? It's gonna have to be Roman.
Shut the fuck up, J-Man.
Okay, bye. See you WrestleMania, bitches.
Wow. Wow, indeed. That was quite the start to this week's We Talk. A bit different from the norm, and we will see the J-Man in our WrestleMania preview show, We Talk show. See you at WrestleMania, bitches.
I think you got struck by lightning shortly after that. I don't know if you'll make it to WrestleMania.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's intro. It's a bit different from the norm, and there's a bit of a funny story that goes behind this. Obviously, I've just informed Smack Talks of this, but when I originally approached the J-Man for this intro this week, it was to do with Shane McMahon's return to the WWE. Did I hear Shane McMahon mentioned in there at all?
I didn't notice it.
Yes. Do you want to cheer for Roman?
I think it's easier to fit in than Shane McMahon.
Did that make you cheer in the slightest for Roman?
I'm cheering for the J-Man.
I'm cheering for the J-Man. I originally thought he was going to come with some, here comes the money. Obviously without the copyrighted theme, of course, because you know how us YouTubers have to roll. But no, he came with some more of your favourites, some more Frozen kind of shizzle.
I think I must have inspired him. I was impressed though. Great voice, amazing voice. He should be on The Voice.
He did actually say that you would be impressed with this. Would you have pressed your button like will.i.am does and spin around like in The Voice for the J-Man if you'd heard that?
I would have to. How could you not?
To be honest, you'd make a better judge than will.i.am as well, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Especially when I've got talent like that to work with.
I know. If you want to hear the J-Man create more intros for us, maybe next time we'll have one that goes with what we're talking about this week. But we are mentioning Roman Reigns. We will be talking about it. If you want to hear more from the J-Man and more intros from the J-Man, hit that like button and let us know via the comment section below what you'd like potentially the J-Man to sing about for another intro. How about that?
I think that's an amazing idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Have we got the WrestleMania theme for WrestleMania? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, I mean, we need to get someone out there who can recreate the theme for us a little bit, so we can kind of get away with copyright and all that sort of stuff. Such a pain in the arse.
I'm sure J-Man can do it.
We need to work around it and try and get like
you can use that voice and just make it up, make the sounds up.
Someone should give him a beatbox.
I'm sure you can. J-Man can do anything.
That's not really WrestleMania though. I don't know what that was.
That wasn't quite WrestleMania, was it?
But yeah, I mean, if anybody did their research, like I said, I think a couple of weeks ago about the whole WrestleMania vocal theme, it's out there. Anyone heard it still? You heard it yet?
I got linked to it. I never knew it had words.
You did, see? It has words. See, I do know my shit when it comes to that.
I thought it was just Linda McMahon's theme. Was that not her theme?
Oh, it was. Oh, it was so awful when she used to come out to that, though, to be honest. It was like, it kind of matched her, like, old. And
so bland.
Yeah. But I mean, so, wow. It's quite a start to recover for this week's We Talk, to be honest with you.
It is.
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
But yeah, I mean, we are going to talk about Shane McMahon this week, just because it wasn't mentioned in the intro. But we are going to talk about Shane McMahon and his big return to the WWE, which shocked the world, and if that works or not. But first, we're going to actually talk about WWE Fastlane. So the J-Man's theme hasn't been lost altogether, because we are going to talk about Roman Reigns in this. And WWE Fastlane was last week. Feels like it was ages ago, to be honest with you. Not because there's been tons of wrestling news, but the Shane McMahon arrival has kind of overpowered anything that went down at WWE Fastlane, because in my point of view, WWE Fastlane, it was an alright pay-per-view. But
really, all right.
I thought it was
right.
Right.
Forgettable. That's what I thought was weeks ago.
I thought it had some good matches on it. I thought the matches were quite enjoyable, but in terms of the big outcome and the big finish, it was really rather predictable what went down. And that leaves me thinking, thanks very much.
Well, I think that was the issue. I think it wasn't so much it was bad matches. There was some great matches on there. It was so predictable the way that it went. I don't think any titles changed hands. And obviously the main event, well, what had the person win that wall kind of expected to win. So for that reason, it kind of just left a sour taste.
I mean, what was your favourite match of the night? Mine was, to be honest, I didn't think this would be my favourite match because we've seen it quite a lot of times. But I do think that Ziggler versus Owens just about edged Styles versus Jericho. And because there was a few errors in Styles versus Jericho, but I appreciate that they were going for things that, were trying to spice things up a little bit on the pay-per-view. And some of them didn't quite pay off. But I felt that Ziggler versus Owens, maybe it's because they have worked together so much, the chemistry was there, and I thought it was a great match to watch. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I think we all knew it would be a good match, but a lot of people were tired of seeing it. But I was more than happy to sit there and watch that match, and I thought it was the match of the night.
I thought it was a great match. I'm sure I tweeted out, I don't care how many times these guys have a match. If it's this good, then why are people complaining? Because they put on such an awesome show, and I knew it was going to be a good match beforehand, but I think they kind of took it to the next level and really surprised people.
Yeah, and the best bit about it for me was the fact that I haven't been Dolph Ziggler's biggest fan recently, because I think you just got so tired of his, endless. Like, they keep trying to bring him up, but then they just don't really know what to do with him. So then he goes back into the pack. Then he gets shuffled again, and he makes intercontinental position, and then he gets moved away again. And I'm just so bored of seeing Dolph Ziggler in that middleman area. But even though in this match, I kind of obviously knew, and I thought to myself, look, Kevin Owens is not going to drop the belt. But it just didn't matter, because the way the match went, it was just fantastic to watch. So when you have matches like that, that can appease knowing what the outcome's going to be. And, the main event, although I kind of predicted and thought that Roman would win, there was an element of surprise to it, but then the ultimate predictable happened, which made that totally boring. And this match, although I knew what was coming, it was still exciting. So
it really was. Do you not think he's morphing more and more into Shawn Michaels, though?
Yeah, I've seen.
The only thing that's going to get him over at this point is a ladder match with Razor Ramon.
I've actually seen. I think there was an interview or something where Shawn Michaels has told him to stop, mimicking him.
I did read bits like that, yeah. Because I think he was setting up for the super kick, and he went in the corner and done the switch in music. And I'm sure Michael Cole actually made a mention of saying he's paying homage to it.
Yeah, but it's different. I mean, there's paying homage, and then there's morphing into him.
Wait, he's got the tights on, the hair, everything now.
Even the boots. The boots are like that similar kind of strap style that Shawn had. But he had the hearts on. That's all Dolph's missing, is the hearts on the boots. I don't know. He's kind of lost his own identity, to be honest with you. He's got a style, he's got a look, but it does feel like Shawn Michaels' style. Even though the tights don't necessarily match what Shawn wore, it feels Shawn Michaels-esque. And the way he, carries himself around the ring and stuff, that also kind of reminds you of Shawn. But, I mean, he still, for me, Dolph Ziggler still needs some character. And I think that Dolph would definitely warrant or definitely would enjoy a heel turn at some point. I thought they were pushing that angle a little while ago, but kind of forgotten that now. And
this seemed to, and then all of a sudden he was face again.
Yeah.
It was they decided they were going to go with it one week, and then the next week they dropped the plans.
Yeah, so I don't know. But, I mean, all in all, for me, that was the match of the night. And a close second to that was Jericho versus Styles. And,
where Jericho nearly killed Styles on multiple occasions.
He did. But there was a lot of people tweeting out, oh, like there's like botches, and I'm like, yeah, but appreciate the fact that these two are trying to do stuff that's different. Like, for example, I think when Styles tried to do the springboard and Jericho did the drop kick and knocked his legs off, that's quite a dangerous thing to do. But, you know...
It was so cool, though, to watch, and
Yeah.
it's something that we don't really see.
And that's what I mean. Sometimes these things aren't going to pay off if they, you know, take the extra risk. But I'd rather look at it that I'd appreciate the risk and it not paying off than them not taking any risks at all and us being bored. And that's what kind of really bugs the shit out of me, that when people just complain about matches where there's a few botches in it, because, you know, if you don't take these risks, the matches aren't as entertaining. Sometimes you have perfect matches and sometimes you get bits that don't quite work. But all in all, that match was good, and it was a good final third match to have.
Is it the last one, though?
Well, I mean, I caught up, obviously, on... I caught up a little bit on SmackDown this week, and it now looks like, obviously, since the handshake has taken place, Jericho is now a bona fide face. And he's, you know, hugging it out with AJ. He teamed with Mark Henry as well to take on the New Day, so it was a 6-man tag match. So I think it is, but they could go down that route that Jericho once again attacks him. Mm-hmm. I, to be honest with you, had hoped that was the final match and AJ Styles would move on to building a feud, which I think he still will. He'll go on to building a feud with Kevin Owens, but I think they're giving it some breathing time. But keeping Jericho around in that mix, the longer they do that, then it would lead me to believe that there's something coming to happen, and possibly that Jericho will once again turn on AJ. Don't really see the point of that. I think the final match was enough. It did the purpose to get AJ over. And Jericho, you know, I was well shocked when he kicked out of the Styles Clash. I was like, wow. Because I thought that move was going to be one of those moves where if he hits it, it's lights out. But they kind of went with it. And it made it even better, I think, when Jericho tapped out. Because when he put the calf killer or the calf crusher on Jericho sold that like $1 million. And I think that it was like fantastic. Jericho deciding to take the tap out means even more now. So I enjoyed that. I thought that finish was good. But yeah, I would like that to have been the final end of the feud, and they can now move on from there. I think it served that purpose. Not sure if it has now.
Yeah, I totally preferred it. I didn't expect anyone to be kicking out with Styles Clash,
Nope.
Especially this soon. But then when I seen the way that he tapped out and sort of just the look on his face, like the whole expression and the way that he sold it, it meant so much more than just getting a pinfall. So I was absolutely fine with that. I don't know if I really want to see a fourth match though at WrestleMania. I think I did want to see Styles and Owens go at it, but at the same time, I think it's in that position now where what happens with Dolph Ziggler, what happens with Chris Jericho. I think we're probably going to get all these mixed in this Intercontinental Championship match. I don't know if we'll go ladder match because we had that last year, but I would love to see something like that. I think it's a good match to put like quite a few guys in there. Maybe put the Miz in as well.
Yeah, but then wouldn't you rather just a solid AJ Styles, Kevin Owens feud all the way up to Mania? So then if, for example, Kevin Owens lost at WrestleMania to AJ Styles, it would feel more valid. Like it would feel better that you've seen that long building feud, because we got a way to go till WrestleMania. So
I think I'd prefer that. I think because Kalisto has the United States Championship, I think maybe that might be better suited to like a multi-man match this year.
Yeah, because I think otherwise what's going to happen is you have that match, and let's say AJ Styles does win, it just then makes Kevin Owens' title reign even more pointless again. It's like, oh, they gave him the belt because of the purpose that they needed to get it off Dean Ambrose to make Roman Reigns look like he potentially was going to lose at Fastlane. And I still honestly believe that that's the only reason why they took it away from Dean Ambrose, was to give everyone that element of doubt that potentially...
Well, they do that all the time. Like, it's something that, you know, when we're seeing he was going to be in the main event, it was like, oh, he's going to be dropping that title soon. I think everyone knew it was coming.
So, yeah, if that's the case, like, you know, I don't want Kevin Owens to have a pointless reign. But I think that if he goes into a schedule with AJ Styles, that that AJ could win the belt at Mania and continue that feud. And I really want a feud that goes on for a good few months after WrestleMania. However, I don't want to see them facing each other on Raw. I want to see like the next match at the next pay-per-view, and maybe the final one after that if there is another one. And I just feel like, and it comes back with TNA as well, we get so much given to us for free on Raw because they don't know what to do with it. And then when it comes to the big pay-per-view, it's lost that, 5-star value. I don't feel as excited as I should because it's the first encounter, you know what I mean? Or it's the opportunity to get the rematch to, win the gold back. But when we've seen it on Raw, and I'm just like, well, that could have been a big pay-per-view match. And it'd be more exciting if you spent 5 weeks or 4 weeks with, just build and these two not touching each other for that period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always the case when you build something like that. It just means so much more than something that's just thrown together at the last minute. It
just concerns me if they went with that intercontinental sort of style match that they had in previous years with the ladder match, that you just wouldn't get that value out of Kevin Owens' title reign. So yeah, I think that you're right. I think it would be more suited to a United States match if they do go for it. What did you think, before we touch on the big one, because we're not going to go through all the matches on this, but I have to ask you something that I thought was absolutely bizarre on this WWE Fastlane.
What's that?
Pay-per-view was
Wyatt's losing.
Well, why? For me, why were the? Am I right in saying? Because it feels like. Does it not feel like to you that this was ages ago?
The Fastlane show itself. It does. Like when you mentioned doing Fastlane results this week, I was quite surprised. I don't know what it's been, but this week I think it's probably Raw. Staying up late night on that. Then there was the DLC come out Tuesday for 2K16. It's kind of just throwing the week off and kind of like prolonged things.
Yeah, because like I'm like kind of sitting there at the moment, and I'm like thinking, well, just to touch on that Wyatt match, that for me solidifies there is no place forward for the Wyatt family, and there is no. I'll be honest with you. As much as I would love to see them be like a massive faction and a heel group in the WWE, I can't be bothered anymore. It's awful. Why on earth would you let them lose to those three? The Titans. It was garbage. It's the Shitans is what I was calling them when I was tweeting live about it. I thought it was just a fucking pointless victory for them. That group is not going to do anything significant, and you've then let a proper group that everyone wants to see grow and become something special, and could have been something special, just again take another pointless loss at a pay-per-view. And for me, it was like almost the final nail in the coffin. I don't know what the Wyatt family have done backstage. But, I mean, it just feels like to me that any time they go a step forward, much like Dolph Ziggler, they take 12 or 100 fucking steps back.
But it's the case that always seems to happen with them. I mean, we're all kind of rooting for them here. We want to see them become that dominant faction. And when we thought that they were going to get involved in the main event, I think that's exactly what would have been the best thing for them. It never happened. And when I was sitting there watching it, I thought, well, they've took the loss here, so maybe then, we kind of forget about later on. And they do get involved, but it never happened, and I think it was crying out for it. We needed some kind of swerve because it just played out so predictable, like we thought it would. It needed something in there, even if the Wyatts tried to attack them and they didn't sort of succeed in that. At least we would have seen them. At least they'd have done something. But losing a Big Show, Kane, and Ryback, how soul destroying must that be?
And the thing as well is like it just crushes all storylines that have happened from like the Royal Rumble, and like we were saying that I still personally didn't think he was booked Bray Wyatt that well in the Royal Rumble, but when we look at what happened in the Royal Rumble and the whole build towards them trying to take down Brock Lesnar, and then looking at now, like anticipation was they had to interfere in that match because to close a storyline. And it's almost like WWE have said, you know what, this isn't going to work at the moment. We'll just put you in here with these guys and call them the Titans, and we'll move forward with Dean Ambrose, because we're not sure what we're going to do with Dean Ambrose, because we've had to remove him from his Intercontinental Championship feuds to make sure that we get Roman over again, and people don't expect that to happen. And that's fucking annoying to keep seeing that happen. So basically, I reckon what was penciled in for WrestleMania was Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, or Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, one or the other, and that was penciled in. But because they knew that they couldn't just go straight with Reigns versus Lesnar at Fastlane, because they knew that people would know that Roman Reigns is going to win, they had to throw that element of doubt in there, and that's why they slotted in Ambrose. And to me, that's ruined everything for the Wyatts, and it's rubbish. Like, I mean, how did they not interfere in that? After they take that loss, you're all sitting there expecting, the Wyatts to interfere. And it would have been decent, because I'll be honest with you, the match was quite good, the main event match. But was it not the exact same booking style of match that we saw when John Cena, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar went at it, I think, at the Royal Rumble? Was it not the same style match? They planned it out the same. Lesnar gets taken out. He stays down. He comes back. He gets taken out again. That gives the time for Dean and Roman to fight, much like Cena and Rollins. And then he comes in all guns blazing again. And it's the same booking. It's the same way to do it.
It was, but hang on. I don't get what you're complaining about. Because the Royal Rumble match was awesome, and I thought this was an awesome match. It was just the outcome that I wasn't happy with.
No, I'm trying to make the point here that if you book the match that way, why wouldn't you have had the opportunity to slot the Wyatts into that? If you wanted to do something to take Brock Lesnar out, why didn't you just have the Wyatts put him through the announce table?
Well, I think that's the kind of thing that we're going with. I think the powerbomb spot, it worked, but I would have preferred to see the Wyatts in there. It's just... I don't know. I think they've just changed the plans at the last minute because of Ambrose. I think Ambrose and Lesnar is a bigger match, and it's something that they can maybe do more with, because they don't seem to do too much with the Wyatts. I think the initial plan would have definitely been Brock Lesnar against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, but for whatever reason, I think they've probably looked at it and thought, we can get away with Lesnar and Ambrose and probably make more out of that and sell more pay-per-views than Bray Wyatt, because the way that he's been booked, he's not sort of leading into this as a big match. He's not a big threat to Lesnar when he's just lost to Big Show, Ryback, and Kane.
Yeah, but don't you think, like, if you could have booked it much more simple? Like I say, it wasn't a complaint about the match. It was more a case of that you had something open that you needed to tie up and you needed to wrap it up, and you've already planned a spot to take out Brock Lesnar in this match. So put 2 and 2 together, and you get your 4, and that is the Wyatt family that come in and take out Brock Lesnar. And if you didn't want to have Lesnar versus Wyatt at WrestleMania, all you had to do was mention that the Wyatts is on Brock Lesnar's hit list at some point, and have him then focus on Ambrose to WrestleMania, and then pick the feud up after. Just keep it in people's minds. Now, it just feels like, well, that was pointless. You didn't really want to do it anyway, and you let them lose to those fucking Titans, and they didn't get anything out of this pay-per-view. So that's
I think
what I'm
we
pointing
could probably
out.
see something like that come SummerSlam, maybe they're holding off for then. But this whole storyline, it was all about taking out the big dogs of the WWE, and Lesnar was one of them. Then you had Kane, you had Big Show and Ryback, and I think it just makes a joke of the Wyatt family when that's the kind of direction that they're going in. That's what they want to do, take out all these big dogs, and yet they kind of take out Big Show, Kane, or Ryback, who, let's face it, it's not like they're unstoppable. Like, they've had so many matches that they've lost over the course of the last year, and it's like, surely the Wyatt family is a collective getting involved. They should be able to take these guys out.
Well, it just would have made a better statement if they'd won that match, and then they maybe interfered in the Lesnar match. But if they'd won that match, to be honest with you, I don't think I would have been too much fussed about if they'd interfered in it or not, and I'd be happy to maybe just let the storyline sit as it is, But the reason why I'm not happy to let it sit is because of the fact that they lost to these three who are not going to do anything going forward. And then they didn't have any sort of... Because you always think that if someone loses, there's going to be like a payoff later on in the evening, much like at WrestleMania when it was the Randy Orton, Seth Rollins thing. Seth Rollins come back later on in the night to cash in. So you always kind of think that WWE are going to come up with something to give it back their way, to keep the momentum on guys they want to push, and they didn't. It was almost like, well, we don't care for the Wyatts anymore, and that to me I just found it utterly bizarre. So I as I said, I'm technically done with any sort of hope that Bray Wyatt and his faction can become a decent power within the WWE. It's done as far as I'm concerned. There's only so many times you can keep doing that until you think it's time to drop away now.
So I think now you're done with it, that's the time that they're probably going to kick on with it.
I would hope so. I want them to like redeem themselves with the Wyatt family. But how many opportunities are they going to get at this until Bray Wyatt becomes a Bo Dallas? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Bo Dallas, what did you make of the co-main event and that huge win?
Well, that's what I was going to really touch on before we got into the Bray Wyatt thing, and I just went off on a rant on it. But the whole structure of the pay-per-view is very strange. Like, why did you have that United States Championship match on the pre-show, and then you had the social outcasts and stuff like that, even on the pay-per-view, and much like the Edge and Christian segment? I hated it.
It should have been pre-show stuff. Edge and Christian. Why would you have that on a pay-per-view? People's paying to see a wrestling match. They don't want to see a promotion for the WWE Network, especially one as bad as that.
But
especially for a show as bad as that.
What two massive things to kill the crowd? Like massive. Well, to be honest, the crowd got killed. I think by the Charlotte versus Nikki Bella match at one point, because I remember Ref saying that the AJ Styles Jericho match didn't have a lot of pop to it. So that had already made them simmer. But the crowd was average at best anyway. But the whole this just before the main event to plonk these two bits. The Edge and Christian bit went on forever. I know. I still like the New Day, and I think, obviously, you like the New Day as well. But are you not a little bit like me, finding that a segment for that long, and them talking, and it being all those inside jokes, they're funny, but when it was that period of time on a pay-per-view, it just didn't feel good. I just thought it was all rather awkward, and I'd rather not have seen it.
Yeah, well, I love the New Day. It's just... that kind of promotion, that's something that you either do on a pre-show or you do on Raw. There's no need to have that on a pay-per-view that people are paying for. Especially when you've got Kalisto and Del Rio on the pre-show. That should have been in that spot. I felt bad for them guys actually missing out on it. Because that was on the show instead. And it was just promotion for the WWE Network, which the majority of people, I'm sure, are watching on WWE Network. So it's like, what's the point in doing that? Do it on Raw when Raw is taking place on TV, and you're promoting people to then go to the WWE Network.
Yeah, and let's be honest, that show ain't very good either.
Well, that's putting it lightly, isn't it?
Well, no, because everyone that I've spoke to has said it's goddamn awful. But Tom Cushney thinks it's good. I don't know.
That's Tom Cushney, though.
Yeah. Tom's a little bit out there, I think, if he thinks that's good. I don't know any people that think it's good. I think there's a couple of funny bits in there, but I mean,
it was very 90s, I thought.
Yeah,
it wasn't current. It's not something that I think a lot of people will watch and think that's funny. It just felt...
It's cringe.
It was missing the mark, wasn't it?
Felt a bit like to me, like two dads trying to like rediscover their youth.
It did a bit, yeah. I get where you come from with that. It kind of had that feeling throughout.
And I think I watched like 15 minutes of it, and I was just like, oh, that's enough of this. It's, yeah, I don't think the show's that good. I think that the feedback in general is that it's not that good. And like I say, it just felt like it had no time or place on the Fastlane pay-per-view. But did you think the match that came after that had any time or place? Was it after? I think it was after.
Well, Axelmania's run wild running into WrestleMania.
I have no comment when it comes to the social outcasts.
But they're
I
picking up
hate it.
wins. It's good for them. They've got matching T-shirts. Everything you complain about, they put it right. They're getting wins. The T-shirts, the attire, it all matches.
Do you enjoy it?
I like the fact to beat R-Truth.
But and if you pay to go to see WWE Fastlane, you would expect to see R-Truth, wrestling on the card. Yeah.
No, but I would love to
Against the
see
social
social outcasts.
No. No one wants to see
wrong with
them.
these
It's
guys?
crap
Give
booking.
them a chance.
There's nothing to give. There's nothing to give. It's awful. They all would do much better if they were on their own and booked more credibly.
They really couldn't. Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater on their own.
I could book all of them in a credible storyline if I was given the opportunity to. I'm not. There's not even worth me going into it. You could book them in better, incredible storylines. They don't have to have this stupid group.
I think the group's good for them, and then they go their separate ways, and we'll maybe get 1 star out of it. Don't forget, Curtis Axel has wins over Triple H.
Well, no, I'm never going to be sold on this group. It's just, yeah.
Do you find it strange they're getting wins? Do you
I
not
do
expect
find
them
it
to be like
strange.
3MB and just constantly take the loss?
It's not. I'm not really upset by them, getting wins, because I think to myself, well, I want like guys like this to do well, really, because I feel that they're quite, all the guys are quite talented, but they were always given shitty gimmicks or paired with the wrong people, much like Axel being paired with Heyman for no reason. He completely lost its spark from there. Adam Rose having an alright gimmick at the beginning, which you could have put a few twists on and made it good, but they never really wanted to go with it, so it failed. Bo Dallas, he was absolutely exceptional in NXT. Brought up to the main roster, didn't really feel it. Wanted to push it away. Who else am I missing here? Oh, Heath Slater, not fussed, but
Well, Heath Slater's probably the best out of the lot. He's got the mic skills. He can cut a good promo. I think he's like one of the standout stars. He just gets lost in these groups all the time. He's never really had that singles run.
But that's what I mean. Like I look at them and I think in general, it's good that they're picking up wins, but this group doesn't have much longevity. It's not going to be there for a long period of time. They will eventually split up, and possibly, like you say, one of them will get a little bit of a rub and go forward, but the others will just be dropped back down because there's nothing taking these guys forward after this.
What I'm really looking forward to? Yeah.
Well,
when WrestleMania comes around and we'll have the 4 of these guys against the entire Wyatt family, and the Wyatt family get beat, and you're just in tears. And I'm so happy that Axelmania's run wild. The Social Outcasts have got the win.
You would be
devastated.
You would be happy to see that happen. You would be happy to see.
I would love to see that happen just for your reaction. you should have a live reaction on that.
I've already said that the final nail is in the Wyatt's coffin after Fastlane, but I mean that would just be adding insult to injury, and that officially would make them dead and buried in my point of view. But
it's a potential match that could actually win at a WrestleMania. Would you not want to see it?
Yeah, but it fucking sucks that we have to admit that.
It is, but oh man, it'd be so awesome if the Social Outcasts beat them at WrestleMania. I would just love your reaction. You'd have to quit Twitter and everything. You'd be raging.
I'd probably just sit here on We Talk in silence for an hour.
I wouldn't blame you. I know it hurts talking about Bray Wyatt. It's a very touchy subject.
The trouble is I've never ever felt that I'm like a Bray Wyatt fanboy, but I just feel
Shut up, of course you are.
I always just feel that he's just misguided in terms of the way he's booked for like forever. Like he was amazing on like, NXT and when he first came up, but like then it's just been bad. It's just been, he's just every feud is aimless, pointless. He goes in, he comes out, he looks for something new, he goes and pesters someone for a week. He's like a stalker, and then he gives up and moves on to the next person. It's just demoralising to watch this poor poor guy with so much talent move from place to place and just be rejected by everyone. I mean, he's like the ugly guy in school that no one wants to get with. It's just, ugh.
That new face of fear. Not very frightening, is it?
It's fucking scaring everyone away. That's what it's doing, and no one wants to feud with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so we're all. Oh, fucking hell.
What did you think of the Divas Championship match?
I don't think anybody enjoyed it very much. I think everybody felt that it was, again, booking wise pointless to have it, because we knew that Brie wasn't going to win. And it felt.
See, you say that, and like, to be honest, the match itself wasn't great. I think there was quite a lot of odd looking moves and botches. But I kind of got behind Brie Bella when I was watching it. I actually really wanted her to win it.
No, not really. She's just, I don't really like the whole living off of Daniel Bryan's gimmick. It doesn't
when Charlotte's living off Ric Flair's gimmick.
I don't think she is. I think Ric Flair's living off of his own gimmick even more today. I just love Rick. I can't. How can you hate the Nature Boy? It's insane.
You can't really hate the Nature Boy, can you?
You can't. He's just. I was just waiting for him to kiss Brie Bella. I was just waiting for it. I thought
he's like dirty grandpa at ringside, isn't he?
Again, I thought that not because it was a bad match or anything like that. It wasn't anything special. Let's put it that way. But I thought that the match kind of hurt the crowd again. The crowd weren't into it. I think Brie tried her best, but she's limited in what she does. And I thought, again, it was very weak, the finish. It was just like, when the timing was right, it was time to give up. And I wanted a bit more from her. Like, if she wanted to really do it for Daniel Bryan and stuff, she would have held in there much longer. She wouldn't have given up quite so quick. And it felt like to me that the minute it was time to fold, she folded.
Was she on Raw this week? Or is this her now taking time off?
I actually, to be honest with you, don't know. If that's as much as a blur as I get.
I can't remember if she was on Raw, because I stayed up watching, so it was quite late. It's all a bit of a blur. Even though the Divas match on the Fastlane card, I kind of missed that, because I missed the start of Fastlane. So I don't know what that was like, the tag team match. Was that a better match?
I wouldn't be able to tell you this, because I also missed the start of Fastlane. Oh, it was so bad. Do you know what I was doing instead?
What were you doing? I was recording Life is Strange. I wasn't purposely missing out on this match.
I was watching The Martian.
Oh, right.
See? So, and I'll put...
Was it any good?
It was good. It was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I didn't actually expect to miss the beginning. I thought I'd timed it just right to move straight from the film straight to Fastlane.
So did you miss Kalisto's match as well?
I did, yeah. Well, I didn't. To be honest with you, I didn't know it was on the bloody pre-show at the beginning. I was kind of completely shocked that they went with that. And then I was like, that's what added to my outrage to see the Social Outcasts and Edge and Christian being on the main show. It's like, why did you do this? I could have missed these. This would have been fine. And then I would have got to see Kalisto and Del Rio. Yeah,
I thought it was strange it was going to be on the pre-show. I knew it was on though, but I ended up missing it. It wasn't Life is Strange I was recording, it was the Division beta, because I realised it ran out at midnight, so I had to quickly try and get it in there to record some of it. So I missed out on that, and then I missed out on the Divas tag. But luckily, I caught Kevin Owens and Ziggler, and that was, like you say, match of the night.
A lot of people said that tag match was good, and so again, maybe just again proving that they're the girls that were involved in that really are the ones that should be surrounding the title picture. And unfortunately for Brie, it's probably leading to that it's time to move away.
I think so. I think we've all been expecting these three to be there at WrestleMania, so I think that's probably the route they're going to go down.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's just quickly touch on the main event. Like, I think we're both in agreement that from a match perspective, watching it, much like the Royal Rumble match, I wouldn't say it was better than it, but I would say it was thoroughly enjoyable and good to watch. I thought the way they worked it was good. Like I say, I wasn't complaining earlier about the way that he got taken out. I thought it made sense to put him through both tables, keep him down. But I thought that there was an opening for other things to happen, which are obviously not going to happen now. But The way they booked it was good. They keep the beast down. I thought that Dean Ambrose with the chair shots, because I always say about Dean Ambrose, and I've heard this on other wrestling podcasts as well. People not being a fan of Dean Ambrose wrestling style, and I don't really like his wrestling style. I thought he was better when he was in the Shield. I don't think he went as over the top as he does now, but like his baby punches, like when he had Brock in the corner and he was giving him those baby punches, and Brock was like looking at him like, are you serious? Is this how you punch? Like, you're punching my stomach, it doesn't hurt. What are you doing here? And I don't like. It always looks like to me that Dean Ambrose looks very weak whenever he does things, like his punches, his flurries. But the way he whipped him with that chair, he whipped the shit out of him.
Right, he's the chairman of the WWE, and he's always got them chairs about. I was waiting for him to bury someone in them, because that seems to be his like gimmick at the minute. But they buried him, Lesnar, with the announce table instead this time.
Yeah, did you catch what I mean with the whole way that he works? It doesn't feel strong. Like, you'd compare him to an AJ Styles, who really does. It feels like, good God, if I get hit with that, that's gonna hurt. Whereas I think with Dean, oh yeah, you could punch me a couple of times, I might actually survive it.
Yeah, I think it's a strange point. I think Dean's someone though that you would expect to like be quite hard hitting, and yet I don't know.
Rough.
It's just his moveset in general. I think. I mean, that rope clothesline, I still hate it. I hate the apron clothesline where he tries to spin round on the apron and then do it.
It always reminds me of when Homer Simpson. There's that clip of Homer Simpson walking around the floor when he does that whoop 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 whoop. That's all it reminds me of. Always reminds me of that, because he spins and it's pointless again.
It is. It doesn't give him any momentum whatsoever. It's like harder to do it.
What's the other thing? Oh, and the dive.
Could you imagine JBL do that before he does a clothesline?
I'd love to see JBL do that. His hair flopping all over the place. It'd be great.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
The dive through the rope as well, for me, it comes across rather like not strong. Again, look at Daniel Bryan's dive through the middle rope. Look at not AJ Styles. Look at Austin Aries. I mean, when he hits you, it feels like, oh, that really would hurt.
I just have a problem with the dive through a rope in general now, because everyone does it, and it just looks so lame now when you say it. It used to be a big thing. I think the only one I can kind of get away with now is the Undertaker diving over the top rope.
I would say that dive over the top rope is amazing because of Taker's size, but I appreciate not the Austin Aries dive, because he goes through. I think he doesn't. I don't even think he goes through the middle rope. He goes through the bottom of the rope, and he just crashes into you. It's almost like you know it's going to hurt. You've got to take it. So Aries, I think if it's done right and it looks like it hurts, then it's a good dive. And I think Bryan did that a lot. But then Bryan went into that tandem of doing it over and over again. And I wasn't keen on that. Whereas Aries does it once and it looks like it's definitely going to give you a bit of pain. And then Ambrose does it and it looks like he's going to be caught and catch for a hug. So that I think.
But I'm sure they caught him last week. Was it not on SmackDown where Ambrose dived through ropes and he ended up hugging Roman Reigns?
Yeah, and it's the trouble. That's why I want Dean Ambrose to be like you say. He looks like he should be rough. He looks like he should be aggressive. But he is aggressive, but he fights in a weakened style.
Speaking of aggressive, though, what did you make of Ambrose and Lesnar before Raw? Because that was a lot more aggressive. It just wasn't on the side of Dean Ambrose.
How do you mean?
Did you not catch this? Where Lesnar attacked him in the parking lot?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. Well, it's serving a purpose. It's building to again. Though I think we might be stepping in that boundaries of is he a lunatic or not. That gets a worrying ground when it comes to Dean Ambrose, because I thought like most people probably thought, why would you come back with the ambulance and crawl and look like...
Yeah.
Who
lets him drive in that state?
There's a lunatic and then there's stupidity, and he's definitely barking up the stupidity tree at the moment. And like you say, it was like he's got the neck brace, he just... those things he doesn't need. He doesn't need that. If he's been beat down, take him out for the evening. Next week he comes back and he does something ultimately aggressive and gets his own back on Brock.
It was quite cool though. It felt like quite. I don't want to say it because everyone's talking about it, but attitude you were like.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. I think this is going to be a good feud, to be honest with you. But I always worry because I always have flashbacks to when he had that. Was it the mannequin in the ring? And he was like, I can't remember who he was feuding with. But was it Bray at the time? I think it might have been.
Possibly.
And he was, yeah, that's not a lunatic again.
I think it would have been more lunatic if he'd ran in to attack Lesnar in the parking lot and then Lesnar ended up like taking him out. I think that would have probably been better suited because it shows that he's kind of fearless and he's still going in there as that unknown lunatic that's just ready to take out the beast when it's probably not a good idea.
Well, one thing's that for sure, at the moment, I can't see him beating Brock at WrestleMania because of the way Lesnar's owned him for since Lesnar's beat him most weeks on Raw if he's run into him, and he certainly suplexed the shit out of him.
That usually means he's going to lose though.
But it's is it no holds barred? It will be no holds barred, won't it?
It should be.
So if it is that gives him an opportunity to show his insane side. And I hope when they do that, I hope it means he's going to take a few risks, almost like what we're going to talk about in a bit with Shane McMahon style, like jump off things that he shouldn't and all that sort of stuff. That could work nicely for him. But yeah, I think that feud's going to work. What do you think as well, just because we're kind of wrapping up Fastlane?
I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be a great match between the two of them at WrestleMania. Looking at Wikipedia, it says it's a no-holds-barred match.
Yeah.
Now, I've got an issue with this.
Right.
Because technically, isn't a no-holds-barred match actual wrestling holds? That's all legal? Weapons aren't actually legal in that match?
No, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure no holds barred means that anything goes.
So why do we have a no DQ and no holds barred match
Pretty much
in the games? It's the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's established as the same now.
It's just so weird that they go with that instead of street fight or no DQ or something like that. But I think it's going to be awesome if they just like take them brains off and just let them do anything. I think they'll be, going all throughout the crowd, around ringside, stage. I think we'll see an awesome spot in it. And I think I'd probably go Dean Ambrose to win it.
I'd like
As
to
a
see.
surprise.
Yeah, I'd like to see some awesome suplex spots. I don't want them to do what when we've seen with Ambrose and Wyatt, where they just like crush through hundreds of tables. Like one big table spot for me would work nicely. I don't want like you say with the whole chairs being thrown at him and stuff. I think that works to a degree, but I think there's only so much you can see. Like again, less is more. If you do one huge thing, do the huge table spot. If you do a chair thing, do one big massive chair shot or something like that. I don't want to just see the whole, I know we're talking about Brock Lesnar here, so we're going to see a lot of suplexes, but that's not the issue. I think it's when they overuse the weaponry, whereas you could just save it for these special moments. Yeah,
absolutely. I think when you do see a bit and you keep it for the special moments, it means more to it. Like when you see blood, like we've seen on Raw, it just means more when you see that like less than, like we talked about the suicide dive through the ropes. When you see that all the time, it takes away from it. But when we see weapons and things brought into it, and it's just on an off chance that it does happen, I think it means a lot more. So
before we obviously bring everything to a close in terms of Fastlane, and we talk about a few other things, I wanted to ask you the big question: did WWE Fastlane and possibly going into the Raw stuff as well, did it make you feel more warmed to Roman Reigns after the finish of that? Do you feel like this whole Vince McMahon period, Triple H period winning the Rumble has all been worth it to get Roman Reigns ultimately to the promised land, which is to be the top face in the company? Do you feel that WrestleMania, it's all set up and good to go for that? Because let's just remember here, this booking has all been orchestrated to make that happen. That is the big payoff, to make Roman Reigns the top face in the company. And I feel it failed miserably.
In a word, no.
And and this has been my thing that I've mentioned, I think, on another video that I did. And I just, when you look at all of the things that they've done to like over the last probably like couple of years now, like all the things that they've worked on to get Roman Reigns over, And it feels like to me that so many other things have been sacrificed in that period. We mentioned the Wyatts. We mentioned Dean having to drop belts. We mentioned people having to, potentially pick it up or come back like Vince McMahon. And for example, restructuring the whole Royal Rumble match to work for Roman Reigns so other people wouldn't have that opportunity to get that far in the Rumble. Dropping the belt, giving Sheamus a pointless.
He is shameless, don't he?
Yeah, I mean, giving him a pointless title reign just to benefit Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is now, or could be after WrestleMania, a 3-time champion. Is that right?
3-time champion Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and
says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, and all on the basis that they needed to get Roman over, and the ultimate payoff is that when Roman wins at WrestleMania, and I feel that if someone tells me that Triple H might win, I think, well, God forbid, because it's absolutely pointless. You have to go with a Roman victory. And if Roman wins, he will be booed out of the arena at that AT&T Stadium. And I just think, why did you do all of this? Why did you make Triple H win the Royal Rumble? Why did you even need Roman Reigns to drop the belt if you were planning for this main event in the first place? It could have gone so differently, and none of it has achieved the ultimate goal, Roman Reigns to be over. So for the J-Man, your intro, I won't be cheering for Roman, unfortunately, because it's not served the purpose.
I don't think many people will. If you caught Raw, then you've seen the entire crowd were all behind Triple H. And it's like no one's cheering for Roman. Why put her through this? And the only thing I can kind of take out of this and look forward to now is, WrestleMania comes around, Roman wins the championship, and the reaction that he gets is so bad. Then they have to do something and say, this isn't going to work. We can't keep pushing this guy because it's just getting backlash. It's not over at all.
Well, the Triple H beatdown on Monday Night Raw. I mean that was the thing. Like watching the end of Fastlane, I was like, "Oh crap, really?" I like the spear finish was great, and if he'd been a heel, it would have been even better. But I was like sitting there, I was like, "Oh," and then I was like, "What's the payoff? Triple H is coming. Maybe he's going to do something. Dean Ambrose is going to screw over Roman at this point. This could be cool." Come out both looking at that freaking sign. That was like, "Oh really?" And then we go to Raw. And Triple H plays the ultimate face game. He comes out, the crowd are behind him. Every time he beat up Roman, it was like one more time. The crowd were loving that. Roman got obliterated, and then he did the Superman punch mocking and the crotch chop, which is, again, like DX Triple H. That's what people like about Triple H. He's not supposed to be that character. He's supposed to be the authoritative character throughout this. And if he doesn't become that, people aren't going to get on his back. And again, it's just like, oh my God, we've spent all this time building a WrestleMania, and what's going to happen is Triple H is the face. And this was what I was getting the ump about when we talked about it at the Royal Rumble, because I knew this was never going to work. It's killed me, man.
We all knew it was coming. That's why I say, just get it over with, and hopefully, the reaction that he gets, it just makes it kind of really clear to the WWE that they kind of keep going with this guy, because it's going to happen again and again. And I keep reading stories about how after WrestleMania, like Roman Reigns is the guy that's still going to get pushed, and he's going to be that new John Cena for the next couple of years.
He's not. He's never going to be it. Never.
Well, he never is. And I think the difference here is a lot of people dislike Cena for the fact that he's being pushed. But if you jump back in time, the time when he first got pushed, he was a huge star. Everyone was behind him. That's the difference with Roman Reigns. They're trying to push a guy that we're not behind.
Well, how did John Cena get over? He was originally a heel. He was a big-time heel. That's what got him over. And he picked up feuds with like Brock and stuff. And it was then he became an in-betweener because people would cheer for him. Roman's never been given that opportunity. It's like you go and look at The Rock. The Rock was never over as a face. What did he have to do? He had to become a heel. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's just screaming out for the heel turn that never is becoming. And to talk about after WrestleMania, him becoming, the top John Cena kind of guy, that is not Roman Reigns. The best outcome at WrestleMania, and I said this in my other video as well, is he beats Triple H. And he picks up that belt, and he looks at that belt, and he grabs the microphone, and this could be either live or on an exclusive straight after the show. I think it would be best to make it look like it's an exclusive, but show it live. And he says to the fans, "This is for me. It's not for any of you people here. You have booed me for the last X amount of time. Screw you." Sticks his finger up. And if we want to go down an Attitude Era route here, this is the perfect way to initiate that, to go into Raw. Sticks his finger up at them. Spears Triple H again. He's out for himself. And that is the beginning of a Roman Reigns who, I guarantee you, people will start to cheer for.
Would you not boo him more though if he then says to screw yourself?
No, because that.
Well, why would you cheer for a guy that's just told you to screw yourself?
Why did you used to cheer for The Rock when he was a heel? The Rock,
yeah, but we legitimately don't want Roman Reigns to win. Like that's the difference. With The Rock, it was the heel gimmick. With Roman Reigns, he's rubbish.
No, but what I'm saying to you is that the process starts from there, because the more he goes on with that heel type character, he will develop like The Rock did. The Rock could come out and call you whatever. I remember he was in Canada and he was 2003 Rock, and he cut some really cutting promos to the Canadian fans. Still, people were chanting Rocky.
But Rock's going to be at the show. Can we not have Rock come out and congratulate him, and he just takes The Rock out and then cuts a promo?
I'm just saying anything like, well, that would make decent sense, because he could say, "You never stuck up for me when, I was beaten down and I lost my belt at the Royal Rumble. You never even, came and spoke to me, and all you spent on Raw, spent time with the Usos, so he could stick it to them." I'm just thinking anything to make the crowd have some sort of connection with Roman Reigns. If it makes me hate him a bit more for now, I'm pretty sure it'll make me think, well, that's the badass that I wanted, so I'll start to like him a bit more. It's like reverse psychology, but it would.
But one of the things that Elle keeps bringing up is the reactions on his face and the fact there's no emotion there. And I think if you look at it, that's one of the big issues. Like, when he won that match, he's going to WrestleMania, he should have been really happy. He didn't look happy at all. Like, whatsoever. Whatever he does, he never looks as though he's actually enjoying what he does. And I think that is a big thing. The only time I've ever seen the guy smile is when he's hanging out with Dean Ambrose. And it's like, what's going on there? Like, are you actually enjoying what you're doing? Because this guy's going to WrestleMania, he's getting pushed. He looks absolutely miserable.
But he's not. This is the problem, isn't it? It's not really Roman's fault. It's not. It's not. They book him like he's supposed to be a John Cena babyface, and he's never been that. In the Shield, he was never that. That's why people thought he was cool in the Shield. He was the chilled out, relaxed one. He didn't have a lot of facial expressions there. He would just say, "Believe that," and believe in the Shield.
Yeah, but when you're on your own, you've got other people just to do the other stuff. Like, on your own, you have to do that yourself. So it's like it's hard to connect with someone that shows no emotion whatsoever. It's like, why shouldn't I care about you? Give us one reason. And it's like it's frustrating, because it's like he just like tries to ignore everything that you should be doing to get that connection with the crowd. And it's like he just relies on this Superman punch, the spear. Believe that? I don't believe it. It's absolutely rubbish.
But the question I'll put to you is, did you want him to win the Royal Rumble when it was Batista who won it? Did you want him to win that Rumble? Did you want him to win that Rumble?
When was that? No, I wanted Daniel Bryan to win that Rumble.
No, but if Daniel Bryan, once Daniel Bryan, no, hold on. Is that the one where Daniel Bryan got? No, that's. Hold on, am I getting confused here?
It might be the year before.
Yeah, the year before.
What you're thinking about, when he was still with the Shield and everything?
Yes. So did you want him to win that Royal Rumble?
I don't know if I really did.
But because what I see there is that character, or that superstar, that persona, that gimmick, never changed at that Royal Rumble, and people were behind him. He didn't have to do anything different. And you know why they were behind him? Because he wasn't being pushed by the machine then. And if he continued that progress to never ever be associated with the top spot, the top guy, he would have made that transition seamlessly. He probably could be, he wouldn't be John Cena, but in his own style, his cool, relaxed style, he could be your top guy now. The trouble is they've made it that way. I want to
put this to you, though. You say he was that, he was at a point then where he could have done it.
He could have done it.
He was a cool heel. Well, not a heel, but what has actually changed? Because it's the same guy,
It's not.
same moves, same gimmick, same Titantron, same music, same crowd entrance. Everything's the same. What's actually changed? Because in my opinion, it's just the fact he doesn't have them other guys there to carry him.
No, what's changed is we all found out that they wanted him to be the top guy, and people didn't like that. People wanted
Was it
Daniel
not that we
Bryan.
preferred Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins?
I personally think that I mean, this is just my opinion of it, that Roman Reigns at that time was fine. It was only when I started, finding out that he was going to be pushed and Daniel Bryan was being pushed out the way, and the fact that they would now considered that this was their guy and Daniel Bryan wasn't their guy, and ever since that spiraled out of control, it became a monster, because Daniel Bryan kept trying to come back and they were like not having it really with him, and they were still focused on Roman, and that's the problem of it. It was the machine that made this whole mess, and we have all had to suffer from a viewership perspective to put up with it. I think, Seth Rollins was cooler, but I always thought that Dean Ambrose was going to be the biggest heel out of that group, and they I never thought that Dean Ambrose would be the face of the group. I didn't really think Seth Rollins was going to be the biggest heel of the group. Roman Reigns just kind of became the middleman, and they he was all right for a period, I have to think, but it's just got. When they pick something up and they want to run with it, people don't like being told how to support someone. It's never going to work. And that's what it's become now. It's just become awful because they still persist. They still persist with it. And it's not Roman Reigns' fault. Like, I know what you're saying about him having more facial expressions. I think so, but I think he should. But I only think he should do that because that's what they want it to be. They want him to be an all smiley John Cena, and that's not him.
See, I don't want him to be smiley. That's the issue. When he smiles, I want to punch him in the face. It's like you can show emotion without being a John Cena happy-go-lucky smiley guy, but it's just there is no emotion there. There's no reaction.
Well, and but can you blame him? I mean, he knows it. I mean, how many weeks do you have to go out there and be booed and think to yourself, I'm never going to conquer this at the moment with the way that they're doing it? I think, how many weeks do you have to go out there until you think you have to say something? And we all know how that goes.
That's like an actor going to do a movie and thinking, this movie's not going to do well. I'm just not going to bother.
But when you know the consequences of what you've seen from Vince McMahon over like the last few months of, striking people down and stuff, he knows he's in a good position in terms of the company. He just knows that he's not getting over. I would grab the brass ring and speak up for myself. I wouldn't the Royal Rumble was a prime example. He should have said, do you understand what you're doing here with me? You're making it look like I'm sitting in the back waiting, having a coffee, and I can come out here and then, go towards winning the Rumble. I look like a weak, I look like a heel by doing that, I don't look like a top babyface, because a top babyface would crawl to the ring in agony and pain, much like Dean Ambrose did getting, in the ambulance, It's their whole booking. It's messed up.
It really is. Like, they're doing him no favours whatsoever, but he's not doing himself any favours. It's just bad all around.
I don't know. I don't think it's all his fault. I think he needs to stand up for himself a bit more backstage and say that, can't you see what's going on here with my character? I think Triple H can see the writings on the wall. Maybe Vince doesn't, but I don't think Reigns to blame for this.
It's just that he wasn't ready, and he's been forced into this. I think it's been a part of sort of bringing The Rock back that this deal was with Roman, that he's going to get pushed with Vince McMahon. And I think that is part of it. I think that's the reason that he's been pushed this early. I think it's hurt him. I think he should have gone sort of another year or so alone and just kind of found his own feet, found out what he was doing, changed his gimmick up a little bit. But I think for whatever reason, The Rock's maybe said, because this guy's my cousin, I want to see him get pushed. I want to make sure my family's doing well. And I think it's an awful decision if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, I can't question how bad it's got for him, but I don't believe it's his fault. I think it's just, I mean, the writers have just obliterated him. You can just sit back and tick off the amount of stupid mistakes they've made with him. But I think that his whole booking is a detriment to everyone else who's tried to get forward. I mean, so many shuffling of the pack to make it work for Roman. Is he really worth this much?
He's really not to me.
And like I said, when you look at Cena had to go through that transition. Cena had to become, Thugonomics to get any sort of proper reaction. And I went back and watched a few Royal Rumbles in the build to the Royal Rumble, and Cena looked goddamn awful. But you used to boo him because he had that character about him. And then when he finally did start making that transition to a face, yeah, he did get cheers. He got cheered because he was sticking it to the man with his whole rapping and stuff like that. Roman's not been given that opportunity to really have that switch or that change. It's just automatically been that Roman's your guy, he's your face, and he's the one that fights the authority. And it's like, nah, never going to work.
It never is, and that's why I say WrestleMania, they have to take that reaction and realise that and go with something else, because it's just not going to work.
And he's not, the trouble is, and we said this last week, I think, he's never facing anybody who you can really hate. Like, you Triple H, obviously, when he fought Daniel Bryan, was booed. But I don't really hate Triple H at the moment for anything, to be honest with you. He's not really done anything like he did where he belittled Daniel Bryan. I know he beat the crap out of Roman Reigns, but when I don't connect with Roman Reigns, it doesn't bother me. But who do you put after, if he wins the belt? Who becomes his next opponent who you will boo? There is nobody unless you're bored. And like we said, I think last week, it was like Big Show could be that guy, because there's no one else that you'd want to.
But you wouldn't want to say that. You wouldn't want to say a Big Show. It'd make you boo the whole match even more. I think the only way to do it is it's got to be some kind of heel turn, and then you can put Dean Ambrose in there, and that's perfect. There's Seth Rollins. He could come back as a heel, but I think we'll want him to come back as a face. And I would much prefer to see heel Roman Reigns against a face Seth Rollins or a face Dean Ambrose. There's so many faces you can go up against. John Cena. It works out so much better for him, and I'm sure he'd get much more of a reaction than he would as a face.
Yeah, and having his unhappy face and all the traits that he's got are almost key signs of a heel. So he would play that role pretty easy. Doesn't have to speak much. Doesn't have to be that sort of champion. Can just be, a hard hitting champion who does his business in the ring. And I think you could book him easy as a heel. It's so simple. I've never understood why they wanted to do this the whole time.
I honestly, I can't understand a thing when it comes to the booking of Roman Reigns.
But would you be more pissed off if they let Triple H win the match and continue it on? Or would you just... Because I'm at that point where I have to... If they don't change the match, if they don't adjust it or tweak it or put someone in it, I have to see him win just to have closure, I think. To take this, to say, look, this is it now. He's the champ, and we're gonna go for this. And whatever the outcome is, I really don't want to see Triple H string it out on Raw the next night that he was unlucky and he's still the guy that needs to come at him for the belt. I'd be done, I think.
Well, that's the thing. I think WrestleMania signals the end of the season and then a new beginning on Raw. If we get the same thing, honestly, I can't take much more of it. I'm going to have to start watching TNA if that's the case.
Yeah, and for those of you that complain, like I said, I think we point out valid things here of the whole period of time that's gone on with Roman Reigns. And for those of you that don't watch TNA and moan about TNA's lack of consistency and how, they jump in and out and stuff, well, go and watch EC3 versus Matt Hardy. If you're not a Matt Hardy fan, that's absolutely fine, but go and watch the booking of EC3 and Matt Hardy. Go all the way back to see since they came on Pop and how they've done it, and appreciate that they have booked a really good feud. And, I'm invested in that feud. I'm always looking forward to seeing what's going on. And, compared to Roman Reigns' booking and his feud with Triple H, if I had an option, I'd rather watch EC3 versus Matt Hardy at the moment.
Well, I'd say that, but it'd be kind of ironic because I haven't been watching it.
Well, you need to. I think people who just think that TNA is bad and I don't want to watch TNA because of the mistakes they've made. I would say that you should give them an opportunity here to refresh you a bit with the EC3 Matt Hardy feud. There's a lot of other problems there. I'm not going to say that they're amazing. Their X division needs to be sorted. So but start at the top, get that sorted, work your way down. TNA could be doing very well again soon if they keep working at it. So
it's not that I say TNA is bad or anything. When I do watch it, and the Matt Hardy stuff with EC3, it is great to watch. It's just a case of when you've got a 3-hour Raw, you've got SmackDown, you've got Fastlane this week. It's so hard to kind of fit it all in.
Yeah, and like you say, whereas TNA have one show a week, and you think to yourself, "Oh, I'm invested in that. I like that. I look forward to seeing what's next week." You've got so much WWE TV programming that every time you see Triple H and Roman Reigns, it's like, "Oh, again." But yeah, it doesn't inspire me at WrestleMania. I'm hoping that we get some sort of twist, but I think they've got to go forward with it. So
let's just hope it all comes to a conclusion at WrestleMania.
So are we going to cheer for Roman? Not at the moment, I think, is the answer.
Is J-Man going to cheer for Roman? That's what I want to know.
Apparently so. We'll find out.
You'd be like Brie Bella on the outside.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out when he comes on for the WrestleMania We Talk, which we plan to do some big things for. Okay, so let's talk on to our final subject of We Talk. We've got a few bits of news as well, but first and foremost, I need to say anybody that ordered this month's WrestleCrate and used my discount code, so, here we go, selfless promotion.
Use discount code SmackTalks for 10% off your first WrestleCrate.
Oi. If you did use my discount code, Delzinski, I said you'd get a shout out on We Talk this week, so I'm just going to give you a rundown of names, and we've got some quite funny ones, to be honest with you. So, you ready for these?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, so...
Are you taking the mick out of people that use your discount code? See, I would never do that. That's why they should use the discount code SmackTalks for 10% off your first WrestleCrate.
You haven't heard the names yet.
I could never take the mick out of my subscribers.
I'm not taking the mickey out of them. I'm just saying some people have chosen some very interesting YouTube names.
Let's hear it.
Right. So, all you guys who did use that discount code, you're all Delzinski approved, and thank you very much. Hopefully as well you enjoy your WrestleCrate. So here, let's do it. Let's give us a rundown. So we've got Tommy Cardulo, thank you very much. Tyler Quintal, thank you very much. Axelic Studios, see, that's but the best ones next. Big Jugs 69,
Classic.
Big Jugs 69. Thank you very much.
Full of beer?
Full of milk.
Maybe it's Kurt Angle.
Oh, I don't want to see Kurt Angle do that. He's bald like a baby.
Jugging milk?
Yeah, but not from Big Jugs.
What kind of milk are you going for here?
I'm not sure. Big Jug 69. Oh, Lord. Jake Owens. That's a much more normal name. Nate Go Wild blogs. Interesting. Dara O'Sullivan. Ramiro Quigara. God, they haven't given me an easy task with these. This is a long one. Rajavir Match Attacks Master. Taya! Sounds like some sort of boss on a computer game.
Yeah, it sounds good.
This one's just adding insult to injury. Craig Messi Garrett. Really? The Messi after this week?
I wondered where you were going there. And then, of course, Messi totally destroyed Arsenal, didn't he?
Yeah. So
there is a second leg, though, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not really worth it after you break the first leg.
It's like a month away. I didn't realise how long it is.
It's ultimately depressing. But we get to redeem ourselves this weekend by whooping your monkey asses.
Is it Man United Arsenal this weekend?
Jesus, what kind of supporter are you?
I've been so focused on wrestling and Louis Van Gaal's football. It's not the most entertaining thing to watch.
What are you talking about? It's horny football, apparently.
Oh, God. I couldn't even believe you used that phrase. I missed the game as well on Tuesday. I forgot all about it. Europa League. I'm not used to Thursdays.
Oh, my. What sort of fan are you?
A disillusioned one at the moment. It's like we're getting Roman Reigns pushed into a striker.
Surely you don't want Mourinho on your team, do you?
I didn't originally, but now I really do.
Oh God, I feel a bit sick.
I've just been sitting waiting for the announcement. It's totally ruined the season though. Like just watching the matches is so bad.
Anyway, we'll cheer you up this weekend by kicking your monkey asses all over the stadium. So
Yeah, right.
well, I personally think, just to quickly touch on it, that if there's ever a better time to face Man United, it's probably now. And as well, the fact that we've just had our asses handed to us by Barcelona, so we need someone to kick ourselves back into gear, and it would be a good chance to do it. Maybe we can help you out and do you a favour and beat you so bad that Van Gaal goes.
To be honest, I've been sitting watching matches where we've been winning and then the other team, like a lesser team, have drawn back and it's got like injury time. I've been kind of secretly hoping we'll kind of get beat just to get Van Gaal out there, but it looks like it's going to be the end of the season now.
Yeah, well, we'll see, and then we can
You must know how I feel because you've had to sit through Arsene Wenger for so long without any trophies.
You've got loads of trophies. We win the FA Cup like every season.
Well, Premier League.
Yeah, we're going to win that this season.
That's the one that counts.
We'll win that this season, and then we'll move on from there. So,
yeah, I don't think you will. I'm rooting for Leicester this season.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I mean, we should win the league this season, but Leicester just keep on going. Claudio Ranieri, the Tinker Man, he's loving it. All he does,
he's a classic manager. I wouldn't like him come in.
All he does is buy people pizza and stuff and give them days off, and it seems to work.
Well, he gives them a week off. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, maybe Vince McMahon should take a leaf out of Claudio's book and give Roman Reigns some pizza and give him WrestleMania off.
He would be an awesome GM, wouldn't he?
Oh dear. Anyway, I haven't finished my shoutouts yet. We just went into full football talk. Last ones. Harry Kearns. Thank you very much. Back to thank you very much. Anthony God, this is a long one. Canada. It's not that. It's
It's a country, Canada.
Yeah, I know that.
With
Oi,
that?
shush. And the last one, last but not least, potato peeler.
Potato peeler.
Anyway, if I botched your name, apologies. But again, nice one for using my 10% discount on a WrestleCrate. And if you want to, then make sure you go and check my video out. It's a pretty good box this month. It's got some good stuff inside the crate. Particularly the t-shirt that I'm actually wearing while we record this, the Kenny Omega t-shirt from the Elite, no longer Bullet Club. Nice.
Is that official now? Is it no longer Bullet Club?
I think it's still a little bit in transition, but I kind of gather that they've just become the Elite. So that wraps that up, those shout-outs. And like I said, you can either use mine or Smack Talks, to be honest. Use the 10%, get a discount off, and get an awesome crate of goodness.
I think whichever one you use, I think you'll be happy with the contents.
Exactly.
This month's t-shirt, like you say, the Omega shirt, that is absolutely awesome.
It is. So let's talk about the final talking point on this week's WeTalk. Shane O'Mac.
Didn't see that coming. That was absolutely amazing. Such a shock.
Do you know, shall I tell you exactly what I found out, Shane? I'm going to make... It sounds weird. Yeah, right. Sounds weird.
It fits in with We Talk.
So I was like sitting on the toilet, right? And I was just before I was going to work, I was like half asleep. I thought I'd check.
Oh, did you not see this live?
No, I couldn't. I had to be up at I have to get up at 5 to get ready to go to work. So I was up early, and I was how many hours sleep would that give me? None. So I was sitting there and I was looking through and I was like, holy shit, Shane McMahon's come back. What a shocker. I was literally good place to be sitting because I probably would have shit my pants. So,
Perfect, wasn't it?
It was perfect. It's unbelievable. But I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, really? I thought he was out, with his other companies and he didn't want to be associated with the WWE anymore. And now all of a sudden, we've not only got him back, we've got him wanting to control Monday Night Raw. He's at the WrestleMania, and he's taking on the Undertaker in a Hell in a freaking Cell.
It's incredible, isn't it? Where did it come from?
What? I'm literally sitting there what have you done? Why have you booked all this stuff? And where's it all come from? So I mean,
was he CEO or something of
He's-
some telecommunications company.
Yeah, he's stepped down now as that. He's still a executive there and a shareholder, but someone else is now taking his position, as far as I know. So he actually is now in a position where he can do something with the WWE. So I assume he is going to possibly be back in some sort of role for a longer period, I hope. Because I hope
so.
it's not just WrestleMania purpose and then we're back to the Authority, because that would suck arse.
I think we needed a change for so long. This is absolutely perfect. I think that's one of the reasons why we got that reaction, because everyone wants that change. Shane, I think we mentioned this like not too long ago about who could come in, maybe like replace the Authority, and there wasn't really too many options. Shane, we overlooked him, and I think he's the perfect person to do it. I would love to see him just come in, not so much replace them, like just kind of, bring in a second option, rival them, and get that brand split back, because I think it's crying out for it with all the talent that we've got. And we talked about the social outcasts and how they've been lost. And one of the main reasons for that is because there's so many people in there, they're getting put over the top of them. And I think when you've got a brand split, then you've got much more time to actually put these extra guys over. And I think they would have benefited from it so much more.
Yeah, I think if they push for a brand split, it would work quite well. If Shane, I still don't know how he's going to beat the Undertaker, but if somehow, some way, something's got to come off that he gains control of Raw. And if Shane then pushes, Steph and Triple H to SmackDown, and then it's like, both rivaling each other, having a couple of crossovers. I mean, that for me would work much better, because you can have a lot of stuff going on. And a bit like back before when you had Heyman like booking SmackDown, it was a completely different style of show, but then it could be the one-upsmanship on the ratings and who do you prefer, and there's so much more you can do with that when you're looking at that route. And if they did that, maybe we'll get in WWE games something like GM mode back, which would be cool.
But it would be so good. I wasn't a fan of the brand split when it was going on. I wanted it to end. But when I look back now, I think it was a much better idea, because we had so many stars made, like Edge on SmackDown, where I think if it was just Raw, I don't think he would have become the biggest superstar that he is. I think there's so many names that without that brand split, there wouldn't be as big as they are. And I think that's a huge thing for it.
I'd maybe tweak something, though. I'd quite like to tweak that you have the champions only that can roam between the two shows.
See, I don't know if I'm happy with that, because I think it hurts storylines when you do that.
But I just think to myself, if you don't give them I wouldn't want anyone else to roam around, but like otherwise you're gonna have to start creating another championship again, and then it will be like building to the collision of the champions. Have you seen all this before?
I don't know. I think maybe something like the tag team championship between the two.
I think, it definitely makes things more interesting if they go down that route. But I think the big talking point at the moment is, number one, why would The Undertaker want to do any favours for Vince McMahon? Number two, will Shane McMahon actually wrestle? And I'll give you one more. Number three, how the hell does he beat The Undertaker? I mean, if Brock Lesnar, can beat him, and that's the level that you have to be at.
Well, I can answer all three of them. No, yes, and Bullet Club.
Really? You think that's what's going to come out of this?
Well, look at the past. Like Vince and Shane, like their feud. Shane come out of nowhere to buy WCW. I think if Shane's coming back to TV and he's looking to take over, he's great at this match. He's obviously got a plan. I think we'll be seeing the Bullet Club under the ring. And I think Shane will be the guy that owns them. It makes sense because he's been over in Japan.
That's a good point.
So he could have been working out deals with these guys.
Yeah, but he could also have been visiting Rodney and Pete Gas and bringing back the Mean Street Posse.
Well, how amazing would that be if the Posse were under the ring? But I don't know. I think the Bullet Club maybe have a bit better chance of taking out the Undertaker. And I think when it's WrestleMania, it's Hell in a Cell, it's no DQ. Then if Undertaker is going to take a second WrestleMania loss, then having the Bullet Club come in and absolutely annihilate him then that's a really good way to go about it and kind of save Taker at the same time. There's no way he's going to pin him straight up in a pinfall match, in a one-on-one. I think there's got to be some of the surprise elements. Triple H and Steph, like, I don't think they'll be... Well, I think Steph will be involved, but she's not obviously going to get physical. I think Vince could come down to ringside, get physical. Triple H will probably be backstage because he has that main event matchup later on. But I definitely see Vince coming in and getting some of, like, maybe the League of Nations involved. Wyatt family. He's got to, like, try and do something to protect his investment, where I think Shane will be doing exactly the same. And I think because he's been away for so long, he has to bring in someone else that people aren't expecting. And I think that's where the Bullet Club really fit into this.
But, okay, so that would be good. And I'm just thinking, so we will know if that's going to happen because Finn Balor will drop the belt to Samoa Joe on the NXT pay-per-view. So we'll know if he's going to move, I think.
Well, I think he's destined to come up after WrestleMania anyway, so I don't think that's a big surprise if he does drop it.
But the other thing I was thinking as well is, this is what that confuses the hell out of me, because, like I say, all along we've wanted Roman Reigns, that they've wanted Roman Reigns to be the top face in the company. Who do you cheer here? Let's say that happens and the Bullet Club try and take over and try and take down the Undertaker. What are you cheering for? Because there's not... People are trying to push away from the fact that this is not about the streak anymore. This would be about something else. But nevertheless, the Undertaker would receive his second defeat at WrestleMania. And I really can't bring myself to accept that they do that. I was bad enough when they did the first one, but I think now I've come to terms with it. Brock's the guy. And I would love for in history if it just stays as Brock. It kind of makes me think, no, don't give him a second loss, because it devalues the Brock one then.
But it makes no sense to have Undertaker win, because then if Shane loses, what was the point in it? It's crazy to think if he loses, then this has all been for absolutely nothing. And I think when it comes to WrestleMania, if that happens and we're all disappointed from that, then you've got Roman Reigns. How bad could WrestleMania be?
But how would you feel of Undertaker having a second loss at WrestleMania? Like, do you feel that's right after all of that, effort to get up to the level that he did? That he lost to Brock, but I mean, it feels like to me then it's just become a myth then that he was the monster of WrestleMania. It just takes away all of that if he receives a second one.
It does, but like I say, if it's the Bullet Club coming in and they actually really do a number on the Undertaker, really take him out, I think you can get away with it, especially when it's like got something on the line here, that Shane's going to be taking over Monday Night Raw. It's something big. It's something that maybe warrants it.
I still think we're not even sure. Undertaker's supposed to be scheduled for Raw, but are we even sure the Undertaker's going to agree to this? I mean, it's Taker's choice, ultimately, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to do Vince any favours.
Well, it's a strange one. I think we're all expecting now that's the match that we're going to get. He could obviously say no.
Cena could come back still, but I've seen obviously photos of Shane training. So unless they're going to throw us a curveball that someone's coming back, then...
Well, apparently this is like we're going to go with Cena and Undertaker this year, but because Cena didn't look to be back in time, that's why they've brought Shane in. And honestly, I really prefer this. I don't see, which other way this could have went.
I prefer this, but I still sit there and can't in my head, which is probably a good thing. I can't work out what's going to happen, and I'm all for one. This is how I should be feeling with the Royal Rumble. This is how I should have felt. Like, anybody can win it, whereas with this, I kind of think that anyone can't. Like, I think Shane McMahon has to win, but I can't fathom how he does, and I can't imagine how they would want to give the Undertaker a second loss at WrestleMania. I can't do it. I can't think that anybody would think that's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to have him lose it because of what's on the line. If it was just a match that didn't really have anything on, if it was just Undertaker and Cena, then I'd probably prefer the Undertaker to win it. But because this has so much riding on it, I'm happy for him to take the loss. I don't think it means too much anymore now the streak's gone. And we know that this isn't the Undertaker that we used to get. It's like a lot of that, the sort of aura of the Undertaker and that he's unbeatable at WrestleMania. It's kind of gone, especially with the matches that we've seen against Brock, where he's picked up these losses since then at SummerSlam, at Hell in a Cell. I think, it doesn't mean as much if Shane wins this, especially under, weird circumstances.
So a couple of quick things to ask you on this. So if Shane McMahon could beat The Undertaker, would you have said that it's not going to happen now, but would you have said there was like an opportunity that Sting could have made The Undertaker have a second defeat at WrestleMania? If they were willing to do this, do you think they could have been willing to have done that? Because I remember saying to you, like, I never would think that the Undertaker would take a second loss, so I would have instantly discredited if Sting ever faced him ever actually beating him. I thought he would have been the guy to probably beat him and make it his one loss if it was just that was the match that they had instead of Brock. But like now, in a way, that blows the door off of whatever you thought, because I think that, well, if they were willing to let something like Shane McMahon do it, then let's say Sting was fit and healthy and he would represent Shane, that could have happened. That could have worked.
Yeah.
So it's just...
I think Undertaker Sting, it maybe could have been in the pipeline, but again,
it would have been good for this storyline. It would have been cool for that to have happened, I think, if he was fit and he represented him. I would have rather seen that than Cena represent him.
If you think about it, Sting was all about taking out the Authority, so it would have made sense to have Sting against the Undertaker for Shane.
Would have been cool.
So if these two were like picking two people to wrestle for them, Vince picking the Undertaker, Shane picking Sting, I think that would have worked really well. But I don't know, it's just so strange seeing Shane in a match, because it's not like a wrestler returning and having one more match. This is Shane McMahon, who is more of a management role. Well, he's not an actual wrestler. Yeah. But then when he does wrestle, the matches that he's had in the past have been absolutely amazing. The spots that he's done, some of the risks that he's taken, a lot of the guys on the active roster wouldn't even, dream of doing something like that. Yet it's now a case of Shane's a lot older. He hasn't wrestled for so long. He's been away from the business.
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to do that same kind of thing? And I think being Hell in a Cell, the chances there, I think we could see something. See him take some kind of huge bump, go through the cell, something like that. And then it looks like he's all down and out. And that's where I think the Bullet Club come in.
Well, that's my only concern is, like I said, it's great to see him back. I find it quite bizarre that they wanted to book him in a match because, like you say, he's like had 7 years off and he's like, can he do what he used to do? I don't think he would want to take the huge risky bumps that he did before. I think that would be quite extreme for him to go down. Because he's a well-paid businessman, got a lot of money behind him. Is that there in him to do that? I don't know. But
I think it is. I think he's going to do it anyway, just to kind of live up to that. Because I don't think you'll want to come back and not be the same as he was. And I think the whole businessman thing, I think it was just a case of him saying, "Look, I can make it on my own. I don't need my father's money. I can be a success." And I think he's proved that. And I think now's the time for him to come back and just enjoy what he does. And if wrestling's what he wants to do, then go for it.
Well, I think the main thing here is that I know it's still out of the blue and out of nowhere, but storyline wise, this has got you gripped into what's going to happen. So that's cool. So it might very well be not the most amazing match. He may not take those spots, and you might think to yourself, but in terms of what you're looking forward to now, you're invested in the storyline. So that's a huge thing. And the other thing as well about, like you say, about Shane is the way that he sold it on Monday Night Raw was brilliant. Like he was so casual and relaxed about it, and when he said something like "what you don't know, you don't know," and it's like I just felt like he didn't feel like he'd really left. He's instantly in the zone. He knows how to talk. He didn't mince any of his words. I don't think he made one single mistake on the mic. You would expect that possibly that could happen, a bit of nerves. I know he's sweating a lot, but I think that's just because he was doing his little swing outside the ring. But it just, that's a bit worrying, to be honest, if he's sweating from that.
Well, I think it's going to be nerves and everything coming into it. I think come WrestleMania, I think Shane will be in perfect condition for it. I mean, he's training already. He's training to get in that role. He's got 6 weeks, is it, till WrestleMania, something like that?
Yeah, there's enough time. It's just like I say. It's just the only thing that will be a killer from a fan perspective is if it doesn't have a big payoff, or if he doesn't take the spots that I reckon people are already imagining. He's going to take some huge spots because of what he's done before. So if he doesn't, there has to be something else to counter that, because if you're expecting him to do all these things, he doesn't, and you don't get a Bullet Club or you don't get that, then everybody's going to be shitting all over this as well next. So,
well, I think it could be, the situation that we get everything out of this match, and that's why we can kind of live with the outcome of the main event with Roman Reigns. One thing I would say, though, I think he should have dyed his hair and gone back dark. It looks weird seeing him with white hair.
I think he looks older than Vince.
I don't know if I would go that far, but it just looks strange. I think he'd be better suited dyeing his hair and come back as he used to look. Because it's so weird when they compare him to the old stuff, and he's got such dark hair, and now he's completely white.
I don't know. It didn't really bother me too much, to be honest.
It doesn't bother us. I think it's just like one of them things where I look at it and I think it would have been cool just to see him do that.
I thought it looked cool that he come out with his trainers on. I thought it was like awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, he could have been suited and booted and looked really like average, and you wouldn't have been fast. But because he did that, you were like, oh, it's Shane O'Mac. It's not Shane McMahon. It's Shane O'Mac, because he like looked a bit like trendy and cool with it. I mean, like I say, you said about the grey hair, and I think, yeah, possibly he could have dyed it, but then it still felt cooler than anything that Vince would ever do. So I was just like, and even in talking to Steph, was like, yeah, I'd side with Shane. I already feel like I'd side. Sometimes you might think, well, you'd go with Steph because she's such a bitch, and you think, she's so bitch. And if Shane hadn't sold it well, you might have felt that, well, you're going to go with Steph because she completely owns it every week. But I felt like for the first time, there was someone in the ring who could own Stephanie and beat her at her own game.
Wait, it's when you've got that sort of family situation and it's brother and sister fighting. Like, I just absolutely love that. I think it's gold, and I loved everything that they used to do in the past like that.
Did you feel like it felt like brother and sister though? Because he didn't really talk about but when Shane mentioned things, I always felt like he was referencing Vince as like her father. I didn't really feel like he was like, because he didn't even call him dad, did he? I don't think he called him dad once.
I don't know. I can't remember, but I think that kind of plays into it, though. Like, he feels as though he's been kind of disowned.
Yeah. I loved the handshake where he offered the hand, he pushed it down, and he smartened his suit up a bit.
I like the fact that you mentioned like his wife and the kids and that, and you mentioned like by name, like Marissa Minola.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember on TV, like she used to be like the backstage interviewer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she was actually on TV, like at the time, back in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I thought the segment as a whole was brilliant. It still confuses the hell out of me how they're going to pull it off, but that's probably a good thing, because we're so used to the predictable. Now we've got something that's unexpected, which is great. It'd be interesting to see how the Undertaker works out on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, cool. It's refreshing.
It really is. And when we've just talked about how predictable Fastlane was, like this is the kind of match that you want, where you literally don't know what the outcome's going to be.
I think the only thing that I would say was that segment was better than the whole of Fastlane.
It was, but watching Raw live, kicking off with that, it was like this. Like, I shouldn't have bothered with Fastlane. I could have just waited for Raw, and this is what I want to see.
The main thing is that segment needs to become the whole show. Like, because I'm pretty sure after Shane, the show begins to nosedive a bit. So they need to make sure that everything's at that level and amp it up. And a couple of things that I want to quickly mention, because we've been doing some serious overtime on this week's We Talk. But Vince dropped the F-bomb during that promo segment. A lot of people now saying that this is moving towards an Attitude Era. We kind of already discussed this. Can you see that happening? I just concern myself that, again, he is doing the double standards here. It's all right for Vince to say it, but when someone, like, who was it who said cocky pricks?
Brad Maddox.
Brad Maddox come out cocky pricks, got fired. Titus, little nudge. Suspended.
He assaulted the guy.
Yeah,
he's 70 years old, man.
Yeah, right. The guy is like willing to be punched by Roman Reigns untold times, but he's not willing to give someone a hug.
If you went down the shops and you grabbed some pensioner by the arm You'd be getting done for a bit of assault.
So would you if you got Superman punched in the face off the apron, but I don't see him complaining about that.
Hang on, I wouldn't be getting done for assault if I got Superman punched.
Anyway, look, that's been done and dusted, that. But anyway, I'm saying that Vince dropping the F-bomb is like one of those things where it feels like to me that it's just one of his rules that he can say what he likes. The thing is, if they keep going that way, it would be great to have it back to the Attitude Era. But we've said this so many times that I genuinely don't think that. I think it's just Vince being Vince and running it how he wants. And to me, that kind of sucks because other people have tried to do things in the past to get themselves out there, and he just, tells them no, knocks them off, sacks them, fires them, suspends them. Bullshit, really.
It's totally not bullshit. Like, even if you, I don't know if you heard this, but Vince's biggest rival of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he come out and he took my side. He said Titus should have been reprimanded and that he should have been suspended, and it was wrong to do. He assaulted the guy.
That's fine, but Big Dave takes my side, and Big Dave is just a movie star, and he knows what he's talking about because he's the Beast,
He really doesn't. He's not the Beast. Brock Lesnar's the Beast.
Dave's the man, mate. Dave is the man. Guardians of the Galaxy. He owns the galaxy, mate.
He really doesn't. He really does not.
I like Dave. I think Dave Bautista was right, so I'm siding with Dave.
One person that takes his side. Not surprising.
Anyway, maybe we should do that online. You can have Stone Cold Steve Austin as a tag partner, and I'll have Dave Bautista, and we'll kick your ass.
We should do that. We should totally do that. What did you think, though, of the other sort of Attitude Era type moment that we're seeing on Raw? Because we had Triple H and Reigns, with Triple H coming out, and we've seen him T-shirt, jacket, and as soon as you seen that, you were like, wow, this isn't corporate Triple H. This is the game coming out. And he totally... Like, I thought he was going to annihilate Roman Reigns to begin with, but it was quite even, leading up to that sort of table spot where he just started ramming his head into the announce table, and then the pedigree on the steps. I thought that was really well done. Like, it's not a spot we usually see. I thought it was really cool. I like the fact that we had the pictures of Reigns afterwards, with like the shots showing the damage and the surgery that he had to go for. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I thought that the whole the fact that they're trying to push down that route of Roman Reigns taking that picture of himself, showing him all beaten up and stuff like that. The black to white and stuff that I've seen with the clips where they've now made it look. It kind of makes it look like there's more graphic things going on with the show at the moment. That's all good to me, but it needs to be consistent. Like next week, I don't want them to keep mixing up PG and then go into like TV-14 or whatever they want to do with it. Just draw a line under the PG bit now and just keep staying edgy and consistent. And then at WrestleMania have your big payoff and then continue to go Attitude Era style on us. I think everyone would enjoy that if they did do that. But at the moment, it's too early to tell if this is worth appreciating or not at the second, I think.
Yeah, I think we've got to wait and see how this goes, because there's been plenty of moments in the past where we've had 1 week where things have been a bit more edgy, and then the next week it's gone straight back to PG. Hopefully this does change, though, and we maybe see that move towards TV-14 again, because with it being the USA Network, it's one of the biggest networks that they've actually been on, and I think that was in the past where we got that TV-14 on USA Network, so they didn't seem to have a problem with it then. Hopefully they don't this time, and maybe it's them that's kind of pushing for this. I would much prefer to see that. I think the majority of fans would. If they're getting that chance to do it, I say go with it. Don't pull back from it, because you're going to see the ratings go up. You're going to see everything sort of change in regards to the responses to it. I think it's the way to go, and I think it's something that really does need to be done. Especially with Roman Reigns, I think it's something that could work in his favour. If he goes down that heel route and he starts going a bit more edgy himself, could be perfect for him.
Yeah, they just need to make that major statement and make it perfectly clear that they're not PG anymore. Until they actually ram that down our throats, I just feel like I can't say that this is going to be the start of anything. I feel once they do that, then we can all be happy and think good.
Yeah, totally.
So that kind of brings us to a close to this week's We Talk. I mean, interesting stuff. Shane O'Mac's definitely got us interested in the product. I was never going to walk away from it, but it's definitely spiced things up going into a WrestleMania that was looking a bit sour, to say the least. So I guess You got any shameless plugs this week?
There's so much this week. Smack Talk's channel, like I said, the DLC for 2K16 come out, so we've got the Hall of Fame showcase. So that's up this week. Got lots of entrances, finishers, all that new content from there. Community showcase this week in wrestling, and then Regeneration X. We've been playing a few games. I've done a first look at the Division beta, which was out last weekend. That's up. Been playing through Life is Strange, which is still absolutely awesome. I've also been doing Minecraft story mode. We've picked up Garden Warfare 2. So El's going to be doing some pack openings on there. So that's definitely worth checking out. Awesome game so far.
Sounds very busy.
It is. It's good to play different games. You should try it once in a while.
Yeah, I tend to try it.
When? All I've seen you on is WWE.
Yeah, because
you need a break now and again. Give your mind that time just to refresh itself.
If I took a break doing WWE stuff, there'd just be like no content.
You had a break last week. There was no SNME.
Yeah, but we're working on the pay-per-view, aren't we? So it doesn't really change it. So, but yeah, I mean, from my side, Redemption probably come next Sunday. We're going to start shifting the pay-per-views to Sundays, and then the normal shows will be on Saturdays. So that's how that will work. So it almost filters in with the way that WWE do things, which I think is probably quite good. I've got a few other cheeky videos that I've got going to release. I'm not going to give too much away on it. One's pretty dashing, I have to say, and the other one is pretty iconic. So, make of what you want with those two hints. But I'm looking forward to putting those out there. We've got a few other concepts coming out as well. And there might be something else really good, but it's too early to give any information away. So keep that one under wraps. And obviously as well, building to WrestleMania, we're going to have the WrestleMania We Talk, where we can get lots of guests. And I actually want, and I think, I haven't really told Smack Talk this, so I'm just going to drop it on him. But I think what we want is, from you guys, we definitely want your predictions. Because last year, I believe, we had on-camera predictions from people. And it'd be good to get them again, wouldn't it?
Did we have on-camera predictions last year? I can't remember.
Well, I think we did. I think we had something. So I'd like to get people's involvement. So if you want to send us your predictions, once the full card is out, then we'll get them and you can be featured on We Talk. So, you've seen this week, people get a few shout-outs. Well, how about, sending us and you'll be actually viewed on We Talk. We'll do something cool anyway for it. And we're going to get lots of other YouTubers involved. We'll make it a WrestleMania...
An S-Club party.
No, us, really? No.
What? Why not? I don't know why you're so against this.
Oh, gosh. God knows what the intro will be that week, then.
I'll do the intro.
Really? I'll leave that to you, then. I'll leave that to you.
Leave it to me. I'm sure I can manage that.
Excellent. So, yeah, that kind of draws us to a close of this week's We Talk. And obviously, we want to get your views on this week's We Talking points. We want to know what you thought of Fastlane. We want to know what your best match was of Fastlane. Let's talk about Roman Reigns. I mean, was it worth it? I don't think it was. What about that J-Man intro as well? What about that J-Man intro? You have to let us know whether you want to see more J-Man intros. And as well, last but by no means not least, the return of Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon back in the WWE. Is this good? And how's it going to play out? Can The Undertaker really take another loss at WrestleMania? Can Shane O'Mac really beat The Undertaker? Holy testicles, it's crazy. I think that wraps it up.
I think it does.
It does. So, are you going to catch us later?
I shall. Catch you later.
Yep. This is Delzinski and Smack Talks for another We Talk weekend. Signing out.
Hi, wrestling fans and gamers. Velvet Sky here, and I just want to say I've been hearing a rumor that Delzinski.com is the best place for video gaming and wrestling content.